The film begins with a young boy named Jiang Jie, who challenges a famous chef from Baichuan City to a cooking competition. In Baichuan City, cooking is a big deal, and it has been for 200 years. A long time ago, some important people visited the city and hired chefs to make a special feast. 7 of these chefs made such great food that they were given special knives with a 5-star symbol on them. These chefs became known as the 7 chefs of Baichuan, and the knives were passed down to their children. But over time, these 7 chefs and their families controlled the food business in the city, making it hard for new or unknown chefs to succeed. To make things fairer, a rule was created that allowed small chefs to challenge the top chefs. If the top chef lost, they had to give up their knife and close their restaurant. Even though some people didn't like this rule, it was agreed upon because the best chefs believed only the strongest should stay. Now, Jiang Jie wants to defeat one of the top 4 chefs in Baichuan City. He has already beaten many chefs and taken their knives, aiming to become a 5-star chef himself. Jiang Jie is very talented and is known for cooking right up to the last second to get perfect results. With his skill, Jiang Jie is likely to win this match. After 200 years, Baichuan City finally has a new 5-star chef, known as the knife-stealing cooking god. On the other side, there's a girl named Li Nai who helps her cooking teacher, the head chef, prepare food for the customers in their restaurant. Her teacher is a 5-star chef, part of the Shui family, who is really good at making noodle dishes. Li Nai has a friend named Cui Can, who works as a waiter in the restaurant. Cui Can often tells customers that it's almost impossible to become a 5-star chef unless you're from one of the 7 Baichuan chef families. However, with cooking challenges, a chef can earn the title more quickly, which is exactly what Jiang Jie is doing. At the same time, Jiang Jie is planning to challenge Li Nai's teacher next. Jiang Jie has a personal grudge against him because of something that happened in the past, and he wants to defeat him before taking on the other 5-star chefs in Baichuan City. Before the challenge starts, Jiang Jie spies on Li Nai to see how good her cooking is, since she is the student of the chef he wants to beat. After working at her teacher's restaurant, Li Nai sells snakehead fish noodles on the street. Then, Jiang Jie approaches her with a cold attitude and orders a bowl of her noodles. But soon after, patrol officers show up, scaring away the street vendors, including Li Nai. These officers work under the orders of the Baichuan 7 Chefs Alliance, who make it hard for small business owners in the food industry. The day of the challenge arrives, and Li Nai finds out that Jiang Jie, whom she met before, is the newcomer who wants to challenge her teacher. Her teacher, named Shui Songming, confidently accepts the challenge. The match is broadcast live on TV and online for everyone to see. According to the rules, the dish chosen for the challenge is the signature dish of the chef being challenged, which in this case is snakehead fish noodles. Unfortunately, Jiang Jie's assistant couldn't make it, so Jiang Jie cooks alone. Meanwhile, Songming allows Li Nai to help him, so she can learn from the experience. Songming is a great chef and highly respected, but Jiang Jie, who is much younger, has more modern techniques and ideas. After the 3 judges taste their dishes, Songming loses by a vote of 2-1. As a result, Songming has to give his kitchen knife to Jiang Jie and close his restaurant. Meanwhile, Li Nai couldn't accept what happened. Before the challenge, she knew that her teacher had a condition that made his sense of taste not as sharp as it used to be. But there was nothing she could do because the judge's decision was final. Li Nai started to hate Jiang Jie even more when she found out that Jiang Jie already knew about Songming's problem with tasting. However, Jiang Jie insisted that it didn't change the fact that he was the winner. Li Nai respected Songming deeply because he had done so much for her life, and because of this, she vowed to get her teacher's knife back. On the other hand, Jiang Jie was surprised when he learned Li Nai's name, realizing that she was his childhood friend from the orphanage. It turns out that Jiang Jie went abroad when he was 18 and spent his younger years learning to cook. He returned to Baichuan with a strong ambition to become the best chef in the city. After leaving the orphanage with his foster family, Jiang Jie never saw Li Nai again. When he returned to Baichuan, he searched for her at the orphanage, but the director couldn't help him find her. The director only promised to send him the latest photo of Li Nai that she had. The photo was sent only after the knife-stealing challenge, and Jiang Jie finally realized that Li Nai was the childhood friend he had been searching for. Meanwhile, Li Nai promises her teacher that she will get his knife back. There, Song Ming explains that there was a misunderstanding between him and Jiang Jie in the past, but he doesn't want to go into the details. He says that he accepted his defeat with an open heart and admits that, despite his sensory issues, Jiang Jie is better than him. As Song Ming's student, Li Nai knows how hard her teacher worked to build his restaurant, and she is determined to get his knife back so that the restaurant can reopen. No matter what, Li Nai won't break her promise. She starts her journey as a chef from the beginning, with Chui Qian's help, and opens her teacher's restaurant under a new name. On the other hand, keeping their past friendship a secret, Jiang Jie visits Li Nai's restaurant and finally gets to taste her snakehead fish noodles. While it's nothing extraordinary, Jiang Jie sees her potential. He warns Li Nai that the food industry is tough and suggests she develop her talents at his 5-star restaurant. But Li Nai refuses, making it clear that she sees herself as his future rival. Not long after, Li Nai's restaurant started getting a lot of customers, but they were disappointed with her cooking. This led to her restaurant receiving negative reviews. The Baichuan Chef Alliance noticed the situation and inspected her restaurant, declaring it unfit to stay open. It turned out that one customer had given Li Nai a high rating, which attracted more people to her place. However, when they tried the food, it didn't meet their expectations, and many people thought Li Nai had made fake reviews to attract customers. The Alliance saw this as a violation, and as a result, Li Nai was forced to close her restaurant. Not willing to give up, Li Nai decided to try a different approach to reach her goal. Even though she didn't like the idea, she decided to get closer to Jiang Jie, hoping to learn from him while secretly planning to defeat him in the future. Li Nai also found out that Jiang Jie's house was not far from where she lived. After taking several tests, Li Nai didn't meet the standards, but Jiang Jie still accepted her as a warehouse staff member. Li Nai had no choice but to accept the position because she needed the job to succeed in her plan. Besides, she also needed the income to take care of her father, who had Alzheimer's disease and often acted like a child. Her father was a former security guard at the orphanage where Jiang Jie grew up, which is how Li Nai and Jiang Jie became friends when they were little. So, Jiang Jie let Li Nai work at his restaurant not just because she was a childhood friend, but because the test showed that she had a sharp sense of smell, which was very helpful in managing cooking ingredients. Li Nai tried her best at work, being friendly and acting sweet in front of her boss. One day, while checking ingredients, Li Nai slipped on the stairs and accidentally fell into Jiang Jie's arms, making her blush. As the day goes by, things stay quiet for a while until the Baichuan Chef Alliance announces a special test for those who recently became 5-star chefs. To be recognized by the community, Jiang Jie has to compete against Jiang Jie, another new 5-star chef who earned her title after defeating her father in a family competition. Before the match, there were rumors that Jiang Jie's father, Haiyang, purposely lost to his daughter so he wouldn't have to face Jiang Jie. By passing his knife to his daughter, Haiyang could protect his reputation from the shame of losing. During this tense time, Jiang Jie secretly visits Li Nai. At that time, Jiang Jie wants to recruit Li Nai to join her team, hoping that her anger over her teacher's defeat would help them take down Jiang Jie. Even though Li Nai can't do much, Jiang Jie believes that just having her on the team would put pressure on Jiang Jie. Upon hearing that, she thinks it's a tempting offer, but Li Nai refuses, saying she wants to defeat Jiang Jie on her own. After the meeting, Li Nai gets caught in the rain, but Jiang Jie finds her and takes her home. That night, Jiang Jie pretends to ask Li Nai to bring her thermos and then tells her she can keep it because she doesn't need it anymore. Inside, there's jujube ginger brown sugar soup, specially made for her, so she wouldn't catch a cold after being out in the rain. But Li Nai doesn't see this as a sign of concern. Meanwhile, Jiang Jie keeps thinking about their past friendship. It turns out that when they were kids, Li Nai misunderstood his name, thinking it was Jiang Jie, so she doesn't realize that Jiang Jie is actually her old friend. The next day, Jiang Jie discovers that her father intentionally lost their competition. She feels disappointed and thinks her father is afraid to face Jiang Jie, worrying that losing would ruin his reputation and harm their restaurant. But instead of feeling discouraged, Jiang Jie becomes even more eager to compete against Jiang Jie. The next day, Li Nai realizes that Jiang Jie was the customer who gave her restaurant a high rating, which led to her being accused of making fake reviews and forced to close down. Although Jiang Jie didn't intend to harm her business, he admits that his actions had a negative impact on Li Nai. Despite everything, Li Nai decides to forgive him and agrees to help Jiang Jie prepare for the upcoming competition, with the promise of being paid more. Soon after, Jiang Jie continues to practice, and Li Nai helps him by finding good ingredients, assisting during practice, and offering feedback. Over time, Li Nai starts to care more about Jiang Jie. When Jiang Jie faints from overworking, Li Nai becomes very worried. On the day of the competition, Li Nai accompanies Jiang Jie as his assistant. There, Jiang Jie confidently prepares her family's special abalone dish. However, after practicing day and night, Jiang Jie and Li Nai discover a new way to cook the abalone. Instead of using many seasonings, they decide to keep the dish light and highlight the natural flavor of the abalone. Turns out, the judges love this fresh approach, and Jiang Jie and Li Nai win the competition with a score of 2-1. Upon knowing that, Li Nai feels overjoyed. She enjoyed the whole process of the match and temporarily forgets about her plans for revenge. With this victory, the Baichuan Chef Alliance officially recognizes Jiang Jie as a 5-star chef. Shortly after, Jiang Jie realizes that her father wasn't as bad as she had always thought. She inherited the family restaurant not because she wanted to, but because her mother, who was also from the 7 Baichuan chef families, didn't want to take over. And Haiyang had the responsibility to care for the restaurant and preserve their family's history, which meant he couldn't go abroad with Jiang Jie and her mother. All this time, Jiang Jie believed her father only cared about the restaurant. But in truth, Haiyang loved her very much and wanted to be with her as a father. However, he couldn't leave the restaurant. Haiyang knew his daughter was talented at cooking, but she was also too arrogant. That's why he set up the competition with Jiang Jie. Haiyang knew Jiang Jie might lose to Jiang Jie, but he wasn't afraid of that. Instead, he wanted to give his daughter a chance to learn and grow, believing that competing with Jiang Jie would help her improve. Whether she won or lost, the experience would be valuable for her future. Even though their family restaurant had to close, Haiyang believed that one day, Jiang Jie could restore their family's reputation. Understanding this, she felt guilty for misunderstanding her father, and she made peace with him. One day, Jiang Jie helps Li Nai find her father, Uncle Li, who had wandered off. Luckily, they find him safe and unharmed. Meanwhile, Cui Can, who now works at the zoo, gives Li Nai some free tickets and suggests she take her father there to spend some quality time together. There, Li Nai asks for a day off and invites Jiang Jie to join them. To her surprise, Jiang Jie agrees, and they all go to the zoo together. After having a good time, Uncle Li suddenly wets himself, and some people start laughing at him. While Li Nai and Cui can take Uncle Li to the bathroom, Jiang Jie quietly cleans up the mess. Li Nai is very grateful for his kindness, and in return, she takes care of Jiang Jie when he catches a cold. This situation brings them closer. One day at the market, Li Nai helps a girl pick out good cooking ingredients. They become acquainted, and Li Nai invites the girl, named Jiang Xiu, to visit the restaurant where she works. When Jiang Xiu visits, she asks Li Nai to cook a special dish for her. Even though it's against the rules for warehouse staff like Li Nai to cook for customers, Jiang Xiu insists on keeping it a secret, and Li Nai agrees. However, after eating the dish, which contains peanuts, Jiang Xiu suddenly faints because she is allergic to peanuts. And Jiang Jie, who sees this, is very worried and rushes her to the hospital. It's then revealed that Jiang Xiu is actually Jiang Jie's younger sister. At that time, Jiang Xiu had just returned to China after studying abroad. Unlike Jiang Jie, Jiang Xiu had a close relationship with their grandfather, who was a descendant of the 7 Baichuan chefs from the Jiang family. Although Jiang Jie is biologically part of this clan, she is no longer connected with them, and her relationship with Jiang Xiu has been strained because they've been apart for so long. The situation got worse when Jiang Xiu's grandfather chose her as his successor. This meant that one day, Jiang Jie might have to compete against his younger sister if he wanted to be the best chef in Baichuan City. Jiang Xiu had actually created all this trouble on purpose because she was jealous. She couldn't stand that her older brother was spending more time with Li Nai after returning from abroad. That's why Jiang Xiu got close to Li Nai and involved her in this mess to get Jiang Jie's attention. Soon after, Jiang Jie tried to talk to Jiang Xiu, advising her to be more mature and suggesting that she shouldn't accept their grandfather's position because he didn't want to compete against her in the future. But Jiang Jie ignored his advice. Later on, Jiang Jie challenged Li Nai to a test to see who had a sharper sense of smell. In the end, Jiang Jie turned out to be better. Li Nai felt very disappointed in herself because her cooking skills weren't that great, and the one thing she was proud of was her sense of smell. However, it was still nothing compared to Jiang Jie's. After this incident, Li Nai became confused about the Jiang family history. Fortunately, Cui Can, who knew the story, explained it to her. The Jiang clan is currently led by Jiang Ziqing. So, he has twin sons, Jiang Yuanfeng and Jiang Yuanshan, who are the fathers of Jiang Jie and Jiang Xiu. In the past, Jiang Jie's father had an unofficial cooking match with a 5-star chef from the Ge clan, but he lost. Because of this, Jiang Jie's father was expelled from the Jiang clan along with his wife and 2 children. Not long after, Jiang Jie's parents passed away. The Jiang clan only wanted to take care of Jiang Xiu, who had a talent for cooking, and sent Jiang Jie to an orphanage. After hearing this, Li Nai began to understand why Jiang Jie always challenged others cause he wanted to prove that he was special. That night, Cui Can was surprised to see a rusty knife in Li Nai's house and quickly took it to fix it. Later, Li Nai was given the task of buying ham, but no one in town was willing to sell it to her. Fortunately, she was able to get high-quality ham from a third party for the restaurant. The ham was planned to be used in bento boxes that would be given to the orphanage where Jiang Jie and Li Nai first met. After delivering the food to the orphanage, Jiang Jie began to remember the past when Li Nai often helped him when he was bullied by other kids. Since she was little, Li Nai often mispronounced words, which led her to misunderstand Jiang Jie's name. Now, Jiang Jie feels sad because Li Nai doesn't remember him. Even when he asks her about her childhood in the orphanage, Li Nai says that there was nothing special about that time. Then, Li Nai sees a photo of a little boy who used to play with her, and she realizes she's seen that same photo at Jiang Jie's house. This is when Li Nai realizes that Jiang Jie is her childhood friend, but she still doesn't remember much about him. At that time, the trouble starts when the children at the orphanage get food poisoning, and Li Nai is blamed because of the ham she bought. After investigating, Jiang Jie discovers that there is a traitor among her employees who is trying to frame Li Nai. It turns out that some people who lost to Jiang Jie in cooking competitions have teamed up to ruin her restaurant's reputation. They tampered with the ham at the market, making it hard for Li Nai to find good quality meat, and then accused her of buying bad ham. In that moment, Jiang Jie doesn't care if his own reputation is damaged, but he can't stand Li Nai being blamed. Then he confronts the people behind the scheme and threatens to expose their wrongdoings if they don't confess. Scared of the consequences, they post statements online clearing Li Nai's name. While Jiang Jie is dealing with the main perpetrators, Li Nai confronts the traitor who has been slandering her. The traitor is a jealous restaurant employee who felt unappreciated because Jiang Jie often gave Li Nai special treatment. Angry and bitter, he joined the plot to take down Jiang Jie, but went too far by tampering with the food and causing the children to get sick. He even plans to burn down the restaurant. Then, Li Nai bravely stands up to him, and just as the situation escalates, Jiang Jie arrives, and the traitor is arrested by the police. After this incident, Li Nai finally tells Jiang Jie that she recognizes him as her friend from the orphanage. While Cui Can was helping Li Nai find out who the traitor was, he met Jiang Xiu, who was also investigating the case. Cui Can quickly fell in love with her and tried to get her contact information, but she wasn't interested. Meanwhile, it was revealed that Jiang Jie's secretary, Zhu Hao, was actually working for Jiang Jie's cousin, Jiang Suyang. And it was known that Jiang Suyang, the son of Jiang Jie's father's twin brother, didn't become a chef, but he managed all the culinary businesses in Baichuan City. Jiang Suyang had big plans for his future business, but to achieve them, he needed to bring down the Baichuan Chef Alliance, including his own grandfather. Since he couldn't do this alone, Jiang Suyang took advantage of Jiang Jie's desire to be the best chef in Baichuan City. He sent Zhu Hao to secretly help Jiang Jie in every knife-stealing challenge. At Li Nai's house, Li Nai is shocked to discover that she is actually a descendant of the 7 Baichuan chefs from the Li clan, a family that stopped cooking 2 generations ago. This explains why her knife is rusty and why she knows so little about her family's history, as her father had Alzheimer's before he could tell her anything. Now, Li Nai secretly plans to open her own restaurant. But when she tries to quit her job, Jiang Jie gives her many reasons to stay. On the other hand, Cui Can changes his job and starts working at a convenience store. By chance, he meets Jiang Xiu again at the store. Even though he tries to get closer to her, Jiang Xiu remains distant and cold. After this, Jiang Xiu meets with her older brother, Jiang Jie, who keeps advising her not to become the successor of the Jiang clan. However, Jiang Xiu continues to reject his advice, and it turns out she has her own reasons for her decision. When Jiang Jie went on a field trip with the staff, Jiang Xiu wasn't informed about it. Curious, Jiang Xiu approaches Cui Can to find out where Li Nai and her brother went. Although he's usually shy around Jiang Xiu, Cui Can eventually tells her and even takes her to the place where Li Nai and Jiang Jie are. They arrive at an old Chinese inn where everyone is participating in a royal drama game. In the game, they have to figure out who the murderer is among the players. However, when Jiang Jie and Li Nai enter the basement, someone locks the door from the outside. The basement is filled with fermented pickles that produce carbon monoxide, causing them to slowly lose consciousness. Meanwhile, Jiang Xiu discovers that her uncle is also at the inn and, with Cui Can's help, captures him because he seems suspicious. It turns out that Jiang Xiu's uncle sabotaged the field trip to get rid of Jiang Jie, who he sees as a threat. The uncle fears that if Jiang Jie's skills attract the attention of their grandfather, he might be expelled from the clan for not being able to surpass Jiang Jie. As Jiang Jie and Li Nai are about to faint from the poisonous air, Jiang Jie notices that Li Nai is not responding and, in desperation, kisses her to try to wake her up. After pressing her uncle for information, Jiang Xiu rushes to rescue her brother and Li Nai, and they are both taken to the hospital. After this incident, Jiang Xiu decides not to tell her grandfather about her uncle's actions due to a lack of solid evidence, but it becomes clear that their grandfather dislikes her even more. The next day, Jiang Jie starts paying more attention to Li Nai, which leaves her feeling confused. She doesn't have any romantic feelings for him and is mostly focused on her preparations to open a new restaurant. On the other hand, Jiang Xiu continues to see Cui Can. She starts accepting this unexpected connection and tries to befriend him. One day, Jiang Xiu has another talk with her older brother, and it's revealed that she wants to become the successor of the Jiang clan to protect him. She believes that only by holding the honor of the Jiang clan can she have the power to shield her brother from various threats. Cui Can, meanwhile, prepared a special gift for Jiang Xiu, and it was a helmet with a message written on the visor. He was willing to wait for hours, despite his busy schedule as a chef, just to give it to her in person. However, when they finally met, Jiang Xiu had a stomachache, and Cui Can immediately took her to the hospital. At one point, Jiang Jie asked Li Nai if she remembered the kiss he gave her in the basement. He thought she was avoiding him because of that incident, and it turns out that Li Nai does remember it. There, Jiang Jie explained that sometimes people do strange things when they're low on oxygen, and maybe that's why he kissed her at that moment. This was his way of hinting that he has feelings for Li Nai. Even though she tried to ignore these feelings, she started to see Jiang Jie in a new light. At that time, Jiang Xiu couldn't help but smile when she saw the words, "I love you," written on the helmet visor that Cui Can had given her. She kept thinking about it and realized that Cui Can had succeeded in winning her heart. Meanwhile, Cui Can continued to help Li Nai prepare her new restaurant, and they finally managed to open it. As a waiter, Cui Can handed out flyers to attract customers, but it turned out to be much harder than they expected. Feeling desperate, Li Nai asked Jiang Jie for advice on how he built his successful restaurant. Jiang Jie was happy to help, and even taught her about being creative with ingredients and how to serve different types of customers. One day, Jiang Jie took Li Nai on a camping trip, saying it was to help her learn to appreciate the flavors of nature. While they were away, Cui Can took care of Li Nai's restaurant and had a visit from Jiang Xiu. At that moment, Cui Can kept the restaurant's ownership a secret, telling Jiang Xiu that he was working there alone. During the camping trip, Jiang Jie enjoyed spending time with Li Nai. He had secretly planned for the trip to be special. Even knowing it would rain, he purposely made Li Nai's tent easy to collapse. In the end, they had to share a tent and kept warm together under the gentle rain. Back at the restaurant, Cui Can spent the evening with Jiang Xiu, drinking beer until midnight. Both of them got drunk, and Jiang Jie refused to go home. Sitting on the table, she pulled Cui Can in her arms and asked if he liked her. Cui Can confessed his love again, and they shared a kiss. On the other hand, Li Nai finally got her first customer at her restaurant. It was a mother and her daughter celebrating a birthday. The little girl had always wanted to try Western food, but her mother was too busy with work to take her out. That night, Li Nai's restaurant was the only one still open, so they came in. Li Nai and her staff worked hard to prepare the best meal for the girl, hoping to make her birthday special. The mother and daughter were so pleased that they promised to recommend Li Nai's restaurant to others. Slowly, more and more people began to visit, as if good luck was finally coming her way. Then, Li Nai opened her restaurant every evening because during the day, she still worked for Jiang Jie. At one point, Li Nai asked Jiang Jie for advice about running a restaurant. Jiang Jie agreed to help, mainly because she wanted to see Li Nai become more successful than Jiang Jie. Soon after, Li Nai explained her situation and how she was secretly managing the restaurant. Jiang Jie advised her not to raise prices, as that could scare away new customers. However, to handle her rising expenses, Li Nai needed to find cheaper ingredients. The best option seemed to be buying leftover ingredients from the Jiang family restaurant. While the quality was good and the price was low, she worried that this could expose her secret, but she decided to take the risk. Shortly after, Li Nai met with Jiang Suyang, who agreed to supply her with the leftover ingredients on behalf of the Jiang family. Eventually, Jiang Jie found out that Li Nai had opened her own restaurant. Jiang Jie felt that her older brother had been betrayed, but chose to stay quiet, believing that Jiang Jie would figure it out on his own eventually. Meanwhile, Jiang Jie tells his assistant chef, Zheng Fang, that Zhu Hao, his secretary, has resigned. It turns out that Zheng Fang had long suspected Zhu Hao of being a spy sent by Jiang Jie's cousin. Zheng Fang is someone Jiang Jie trusts deeply. Zheng Fang's father was once a chef at the Jiang family restaurant, and he was the one who adopted Jiang Jie from the orphanage and taught him how to cook. Jiang Jie sees Zheng Fang as an older brother and trusts him completely. One day, Li Nai meets with Jiang Jie, who invites her to dinner. There, Li Nai enjoys the meal until she accidentally sees a photo of herself in Jiang Jie's room, along with pictures of people Jiang Jie has defeated in the knife-stealing challenges, including Song Ming. This photo reminds Li Nai of her original goal, which she had nearly forgotten. Jiang Jie then explains to Li Nai the real reason he challenges top chefs, including Song Ming. In the past, when his father was kicked out and started his own restaurant, the Baichuan Chef Alliance rejected him from the culinary world simply because Jiang Jie was labeled as an outcast from the Jiang family. Because of this, Jiang Jie wants to break the Baichuan Chef Alliance that has monopolized the culinary industry for decades. After Jiang Jie's parents passed away, he asked his teacher, Song Ming, to adopt his younger sister because she had a talent for cooking and might help with the restaurant. However, Song Ming refused, fearing that it would upset the 7 chefs of Baichuan and the Jiang family. Li Nai pointed out that, regardless of Jiang Jie's reasons for taking on the knife-stealing challenges, his actions were hurting others, like how Song Ming lost his restaurant. Jiang Jie disagreed, saying that if Song Ming had worked harder, he wouldn't have lost his restaurant. This disagreement created tension between them, and Li Nai decided she had to get Song Ming's knife back from Jiang Jie. After not seeing her teacher for a long time, Li Nai discovered that Song Ming was in the hospital with cancer. He had kept his illness a secret because he didn't want to worry his students. Feeling the urgency, Li Nai knew she needed to retrieve her teacher's knife before it was too late. That night, Li Nai met with Jiang Jie and shared the story of how she met her teacher. In the past, when Li Nai was struggling to make a living by selling noodles on the street, Song Ming noticed her talent after trying her cooking. He wanted her to join his restaurant, believing she could be his successor, even though they came from different backgrounds. However, Li Nai kept refusing, even when Song Ming offered her a high salary. But when her father fell ill and she had no money for his treatment, Li Nai, out of desperation, borrowed money from Song Ming and agreed to work at his restaurant after tasting his snakehead fish noodles. All this time, Song Ming thought that Li Nai became a student just for the money. But in reality, it was because of the bowl of noodles he made that gave her a sense of hope and strength. Li Nai felt deeply indebted to her teacher, respected him greatly, and saw him as a second father. So, with a heavy heart, Li Nai challenged Jiang Jie to a knife-stealing match. At that time, Jiang Jie didn't want to be in this position, but out of respect for Li Nai's decision, he accepted the challenge. After everything that happened, Jiang Jie finally discovered that Li Nai had opened her own restaurant. Although surprised, he accepted it and even offered to drive her home. During the drive, Jiang Jie remembered when they were role-playing at the inn. Li Nai had once said that she was on his side and would support him no matter what. Jiang Jie had believed that Li Nai would always be there to support him in his knife-stealing challenges. However, he realized that he had misunderstood her words, cause turns out Li Nai was just playing her role in the game, where she was scripted to support him. There, Li Nai clarified that they were never truly on the same side. Jiang Jie's heart broke as he realized that Li Nai wasn't there for him, and that his feelings for her were not returned. Meanwhile, Jiang Jie's grandfather found out that Li Nai was the successor of the Li clan, which was once thought to have stopped cooking. Seeing this as an opportunity, he began planning to bring Jiang Jie back into the family if he could defeat Li Nai and take her knives. With all the knives Jiang Jie had already collected, the Jiang clan would become unbeatable. This made Jiang Suyang, Jiang Jie's cousin, feel threatened. He was afraid that if Jiang Jie rejoined the clan, his own plans to overthrow the Baichuan chef alliance, including their grandfather, would be ruined. To solve this problem, Jiang Suyang came up with a plan to bribe the judges of the upcoming competition to ensure that Li Nai would win against Jiang Jie. Surprisingly, the person Jiang Suyang approached was Cui Jing, Cui Qin's older sister, who turned out to be from an influential family. Her family's business was making kitchen knives, and they were chosen as judges for the cooking competition. Now that Cui Jing was the head of the family, she would be the judge for the next competition. Jiang Suyang knew that even though Cui Jing's company had expanded internationally, it was struggling financially. So he offered her a deal that if she ensured that Li Nai won against Jiang Jie, he would help her company get back on its feet. Meanwhile, Cui Qin's relationship with Jiang Xiu was at first uncertain, and Jiang Xiu only saw him as a friend. But after many heartfelt confessions from Cui Qin, they finally started a relationship and grew closer. On the other hand, Li Nai stopped working with Jiang Jie and focused on practicing at her own restaurant. And Jing, wanting to support Li Nai, taught her everything she could. Despite her busy schedule, Li Nai made time to visit her teacher in the hospital. She asked him if he thought she could beat Jiang Jie in the upcoming challenge. Her teacher laughed and told her she would probably lose. However, he also shared something more important than winning, and it was about understanding the reason why someone cooks. As for Song Ming, he had originally entered the culinary world just because he came from a family of chefs. But over time, he began to pay attention to the customers in his restaurant and realized that he loved cooking for others. He could sense their emotions, whether they were there to celebrate or to cope with difficult times, and he prepared dishes that matched their feelings. Song Ming hoped that Li Nai could let go of her obsession with getting his knife back and think about what truly made her happy in life. He knew that both his student and Jiang Jie didn't really enjoy cooking from the heart. Jiang Jie cooked because she had a goal to achieve, and Li Nai did the same. Meanwhile, Jiang Xiu secretly follows Li Nai to the hospital and discovers Song Ming's true condition. After Li Nai leaves, Jiang Xiu surprisingly visits Song Ming, crying and apologizing to him. It turns out that in the past, Song Ming had rejected Jiang Xiu as a student for a specific reason. He only did this because Jiang Xiu had other plans for her family, not because he didn't believe in her. Unfortunately, this led to a misunderstanding with Jiang Jie. Even so, Song Ming didn't regret his decision. Though his restaurant had closed, his love for cooking remained, and he had come to accept that his time in the spotlight had passed. Song Ming asked Jiang Xiu not to tell Li Nai about this, hoping that Li Nai would let go of her obsession and find a new reason to love cooking. A few days before the competition, Li Nai accidentally found out it was Jiang Jie's birthday. Even though their relationship had become strained, Li Nai couldn't stop thinking about the happy times they once shared. She set aside some beef soup she had made, poured it into the thermos Jiang Jie had given her, and returned the thermos without seeing him. However, Jiang Jie noticed this, chased after Li Nai, and hugged her from behind. At that moment, Li Nai ended up taking the drunk Jiang Jie back to her house, and they nearly kissed when they stumbled and fell together. Seeing Jiang Jie in pain from not eating, Li Nai couldn't leave him like that. She stayed and shared the beef soup with him, which turned out to be very delicious. For the first time, Li Nai received genuine praise from Jiang Jie. After Jiang Jie's condition improved, Li Nai returned home and found Jiang Xiu secretly celebrating Jiang Jie's birthday alone. There, Jiang Xiu explained that Jiang Jie had never celebrated her birthday because of a traumatic incident that happened on that date. Before Li Nai could hear more, she received a call from the hospital about her teacher's worsening condition and rushed to see him. Song Ming lived alone, and only Li Nai and Shui can have been there for him all this time. The doctor explained that Song Ming didn't have much time left, and they needed to be prepared for the worst. Time passed, and the day of the competition finally arrived. Both Li Nai and Jiang Jie had to prepare a beef dish, which was the signature dish of Jiang Jie's restaurant. As Li Nai began chopping the ingredients with her family's knife, Jiang Jie seemed very nervous and had trouble focusing. Meanwhile, Shui stayed by Song Ming's side in the hospital as his condition worsened. At that time, the doctors tried to revive him, but it didn't work. Li Nai had a bad feeling as she finished cooking, and at the same time, Song Ming was declared dead. Even though her teacher was gone, Li Nai felt his presence guiding her as she rang the bell, signaling that she had finished her dish. Soon after, the judging session began, and everyone waited anxiously for the decision. As Jiang Suyang expected, Cui Jing, one of the judges, voted for Li Nai, making her the winner of the match. Jiang Jie accepted the decision with grace, handing his knife to Li Nai and returning her teacher's knife. Shortly after, he congratulated her on her victory. With this win, Li Nai also became the owner of all the knives Jiang Jie had collected. Although she had fulfilled her promise to her teacher and achieved her goal, Li Nai wasn't happy. Her heart broke when she learned that her teacher had passed away. Before he died, Song Ming had arranged for his estate to be inherited by Li Nai and Shui Can, instructing them to use the money to make their dreams come true. Now, Li Nai wants to follow in her teacher's footsteps and build a restaurant that serves heartfelt and soulful dishes to its customers. Meanwhile, Zheng Fang couldn't accept the judge's decision that Jiang Jie had lost. Zheng Fang knew how far Li Nai's skills had come, but he didn't believe she deserved to win. He also knew that one of the judges was Cui Jing. All of this made him feel that Li Nai's victory was unfair. Zheng Fang believed that Li Nai had taken advantage of Jiang Jie and betrayed him. He was also disappointed that Jiang Jie had accepted the decision, thinking that Jiang Jie was influenced by his feelings for Li Nai. Zheng Fang said he had helped Jiang Jie build her restaurant from the ground up, but everything fell apart because of what he believed was an unfair match result. At the same time, the media started to suspect cheating in the cooking contest, with many people thinking that Jiang Jie was a better chef than Li Nai. Meanwhile, Cui Can discovered that Cui Jing had been involved in the cheating. But Cui Jing explained to him that their company was losing money, and she felt she had no choice but to cooperate with Jiang Suyang. In their family, helping each other was important, and Cui Jing had supported Cui Can a lot. By keeping this secret, Cui Can thought he could repay his sister for all she had done for him. While Jiang Jie was feeling down about her loss and unreturned feelings, Jiang Xiu visited her and revealed the truth about the secret she shared with Song Ming. Even though Song Ming had asked her not to tell, Jiang Xiu believed that Jiang Jie deserved to know. When Jiang Jie finally learned the truth, she felt devastated, realizing that all her hard work seemed wasted. She was deeply upset, knowing she couldn't change what had already happened. One day, someone tried to harm Li Nai, but Jiang Jie stepped in to protect her and got hurt in the process. While Jiang Jie was being taken to the hospital, Li Nai met with Zheng Fang, who revealed a hidden truth to her. Li Nai had always known the story of how Jiang Jie's father lost in a cooking competition and was expelled from the clan. But Zheng Fang revealed that the real story was different from what she had been told. In the past, the real loser of the match was Jian Yuan Feng, Jiang Jie's uncle. Jian Yuan Feng was a talented chef, but his arrogance led to his downfall when he lost to a 5-star chef from the clan. To protect the family's reputation, Jiang Jie's grandfather chose to abandon his son, who wasn't as skilled at cooking, and it was Jiang Jie's father. At that time, Jiang Jie's father accepted this decision and started his own restaurant. even though he wasn't a great chef. When his business began to succeed, his twin brother couldn't handle it and cruelly injured his hand. Little Jiang Jie witnessed this tragic event while hiding in a closet, and it happened on his birthday. When Jiang Jie ended up in an orphanage and was often bullied, a friend once told him that if he was ever bullied again, he should stand up for himself. Li Nai realized that she was that friend, as she had said those exact words to him back then. What Jiang Jie had been fighting for all this time was justice. He didn't care about fame or stealing knives cause he just wanted to clear his family's name and break the Baichuan Chef Alliance's monopoly. Ironically, every step Jiang Jie took to fight for this was undone by Li Nai, the person he had admired since childhood, the person he had always missed, and the person he loved. In the end, after learning the truth, Li Nai regretted her actions and apologized to Jiang Jie. There, Jiang Jie admitted that he had misjudged Song Ming and also owed him an apology. After everything that had happened, Jiang Jie told Li Nai that they were even. Meanwhile, Jiang Xiu breaks down in tears as she confides in Cui about how Jiang Jie has been fighting to clear their family's name. She feels guilty for not doing more to help him. Soon after, Cui hugs her, realizing that Jiang Jie shouldn't have lost the competition, but he can't tell her the truth because of his loyalty to his family. Feeling guilty, Cui starts to distance himself from his girlfriend and gradually pulls away from helping at Li Nai's restaurant. Before things went wrong between Li Nai and Jiang Jie had given her a pet fish. Unfortunately, the fish died because she was too busy to care for it properly. However, when she discovers that the fish can still be saved, she feels hopeful that her relationship with Jiang Jie might also be repaired. Then, she rushes to see him, but when she arrives at his apartment, he isn't there. At the same time, a drunk Jiang Jie gets into a fight with some thugs. He manages to escape and hides in a pickup truck, which takes him to the countryside. While Jiang Jie is declared missing, Jing steps in to help Li Nai get a 5-star review for her restaurant from the Baichuan Chef Alliance. With this recognition and the number of knives Li Nai has already collected, they plan to propose a new rule to the Alliance that would end the harmful practice of knife stealing and the monopolistic system. Li Nai hopes that by doing this, she can give Jiang Jie a chance to restore his family's honor. In the countryside, Jiang Jie ends up staying at the home of Gukun Shan, a descendant of the 7 Baichuan chefs from the Gu clan. Gukun Shan is the same chef who defeated Jiang Jie's uncle in an unofficial cooking contest, leading to his father's banishment to protect the Jiang family's reputation. Meanwhile, Jiang Jie, after getting drunk and causing trouble, had hidden in Gukun Shan's car when he came to the city market to buy cooking ingredients. Now, Gukun Shan demands payment from Jiang Jie for saving him and giving him a place to stay. But since Jiang Jie lost his phone and wallet, he has no money to pay. Instead, he is forced to help Gukun Shan run his shop. Things get even tougher when Gukun Shan accidentally injures his hand, making it impossible for him to work. As a result, Jiang Jie has to take over all of Gukun Shan's work in the village, including farming, chopping wood, running the shop, and more. 2 months later, Jing starts working at Li Nai's restaurant. At first, Jing thought she had enough money to live on from her other businesses. However, because she loves cooking and shares the same goals as Li Nai, she agrees to join her. Meanwhile, both Li Nai and Jiang Xiu continue searching for Jiang Jie, who is still unreachable. One night, they end up drinking together, and when they are both drunk, Li Nai remembers that Jiang Jie had talked about finding Gukun Shan, who was rumored to have retired. She begins to suspect that Jiang Jie might have gone to see Gukun Shan during this uncertain time. At the same time, Cui also disappears without a word, leaving his girlfriend worried and unsure of what's going on. He can only watch her from a distance, unable to be with her. In the village, Jiang Jie tells Gukun Shan that he wants his knife. Even though Jiang Jie lost to Li Nai, getting Gukun Shan's knife could be a way to continue fighting for his goal. Gukun Shan, however, doesn't want to compete in cooking with Jiang Jie. Instead, he challenges Jiang Jie to beat everyone in the village in a game of chess. If Jiang Jie succeeds, Gukun Shan promises to give him the knife. Jiang Jie hesitates because he doesn't know how to play chess, but Gukun Shan encourages him, saying that he didn't know how to cook either until he tried and learned. Surprisingly, Jiang Jie works hard to learn chess and makes a lot of progress in just a few days. However, Shan points out that Jiang Jie's game still has many weaknesses. He explains that Jiang Jie needs to change his mindset while playing. Jiang Jie's focus on winning the game without building a strong foundation is what causes him to lose in the end. Then, Shan teaches Jiang Jie that even a general can't win a battle alone. He needs troops, which are the foundation of any victory. At that time, Jiang Jie realizes that this chess lesson is teaching him the importance of teamwork and strategy in achieving his goals. One day, Li Nai and her father visit the village where Shan lives for a short vacation, hoping to find Jiang Jie there. At that time, they meet at Shan's tavern, but Jiang Jie seems unhappy to see them. He is still heartbroken and thinks that Li Nai might be trying to take advantage of him again. Despite his cold attitude, Jiang Jie can't completely ignore Li Nai, and his concern for her doesn't go away. Meanwhile, after a long time apart, Jiang Xiu saw Cui holding another woman's hand. Cui can explain that he had only hired the girl to accompany him to lunch at a restaurant. Jiang Xiu was very upset because they were boyfriend and girlfriend, yet Cui had found another woman to join him for a meal. At that time, Cui tried to explain that he had his reasons but couldn't share them. Jiang Xiu felt disappointed and realized that Cui was now working as an alliance reviewer, tasked with reviewing restaurants in Baichuan City. To do this, he had to disguise himself as a regular customer, which is why he hired someone to join him. Jiang Xiu knew that Cui got this position through her older sister, who was now working with Jiang Suyang. This meant that Cui was now involved with people Jiang Xiu didn't trust, including her uncle and cousin. Knowing that her boyfriend was on the other side broke her heart, and they eventually broke up. One day, Li Nai went to the hills to help Jiang Jie search for bamboo shoots, but she didn't arrive as expected. Worried as it got dark, Jiang Jie rushed to find her and discovered she was trapped in a digging hole. After sending a message to Shan for help, Jiang Jie climbed down into the hole to stay with Li Nai until help arrived. Despite her cold attitude, Jiang Jie made up 1,000 excuses for why he was helping Li Nai, trying to appear indifferent and insisting they were still on different sides. Eventually, help came, and both of them returned home safely. The next day, Li Nai and her father returned to Baichuan. Meanwhile, Jiang Jie finally won a game of chess against Shan, and as promised, Shan gave him his knife. Shan admitted that at first he didn't like Jiang Jie, thinking he was as arrogant as his family. But after learning about what happened to Jiang Jie's father and the reasons behind his challenges to all the chefs in Baichuan, Shan changed his opinion. At that time, Shan acknowledged that Jiang Jie was a talented chef, but he pointed out one flaw. When Jiang Jie cooked, he focused too much on strategies to defeat his opponents and didn't cook from the heart. Shan believed that dishes made from the heart had a special soul that made them taste even better. That night, Shan took Jiang Jie to his wife's grave and shared his own story. When he was young, Shan had the same mission as Jiang Jie to destroy the Baichuan Chef Alliance, which he saw as a group of greedy people. However, after defeating Jiang Jie's uncle, his life became difficult because the Jiang clan constantly troubled him. During this time, his wife fell ill, and Shan had no choice but to leave the city and live in the village. All this time, Jiang Jie thought Shan was on the side of the Baichuan Chef Alliance, but it turned out they shared the same goal. Now, after seeing how much Jiang Jie had learned, Shan believed he could pass on the mission he had once pursued. He opened a box that had been kept at his wife's grave and gave the kitchen knife inside to Jiang Jie. When Jiang Jie returned to the city, he received many job offers from various restaurants, including from Li Nai, who was eager to recruit him. However, Jiang Jie declined and said he would consider it only if Li Nai's restaurant received a 5-star review from the Alliance. Meanwhile, Jiang Xiu is overjoyed that Jiang Jie has returned. On the other hand, Li Nai finally discovers that Cui is a spy within the Alliance, which explains why he hasn't contacted her for the past 2 months. However, Cui wanted his sister and Jiang Suyang to believe they were all on the same side. There, Li Nai feels confident she can pass the 5-star review, but Cui warns her that it will be difficult. Jiang Suyang doesn't want to break up the Baichuan Chef Alliance, but he also wants to keep his monopoly over the culinary market. Long story short, Jiang Suyang aims to be at the very top, becoming the ruler who controls the culinary market in Baichuan City by making every chef and restaurant submit to him. If he succeeds, Jiang Jie plans to turn every restaurant in the city into a franchise, bringing him greater profits. This plan goes against the 200-year history of the 7 Baichuan chefs, and Jiang Jie's grandfather, who values this history, would never agree to it. He doesn't want the legacy of the 7 Baichuan chefs to be replaced by a franchise business. Jiang Jie is worried that Li Nai might disrupt his grand plan by stepping out of the safe zone, so he won't allow her to get a 5-star review. After hearing this, Li Nai decides to take matters into her own hands. She confidently approaches Jiang Jie, the highly respected leader of the Jiang clan, who has the most influence in the Baichuan Chef Alliance. Previously, Li Nai had investigated and discovered who was behind the attacks on her and her restaurant, and it was Jiang Jie's uncle. She even has CCTV footage as evidence. With this information, Li Nai tries to strike a deal with Jiang Jie that if her restaurant can receive a 5-star review, she will let go of the past and not pursue any action against Jiang Jie's uncle. And Li Nai didn't stop there. She also threatened to leave the city and let the legacy of the 7 Baichuan chefs be destroyed by the franchise business Jiang Jie was planning. When Jiang Jie, the leader of the Jiang clan, learned about his grandson's plan, he was very upset. Wanting to protect the history and existence of the 7 Baichuan chefs, Jiang Jie felt he had no choice but to help Li Nai get a 5-star review, hoping to stop his grandson's plans in the future. Afterward, Li Nai's restaurant received a 5-star review, and Jiang Jie kept his promise to join her team. Jiang Jie remembered Gakun Shan's words that Li Nai could be a great partner on his journey, and that's why he agreed to join her. Now, Jiang Jie believes that Li Nai is on his side, and their next goal is to challenge the Jiang clan in a knife-stealing match. Meanwhile, Zhu Hao has been loyal to Jiang Jie because she loves him and is even pregnant with his child. However, Jiang Jie doesn't seem ready to settle down, as he is still focused on his plans. This leaves Zhu Hao feeling anxious, wondering if Jiang Jie will accept her and their child in the future, or if he will just abandon her. Meanwhile, Jiang Jie's presence at Li Nai's restaurant draws in many female customers. At first, Li Nai is happy about the increase in business, but when she sees these women flirting with Jiang Jie, she starts to feel uneasy. This new feeling confuses her, and she eventually realizes that she has feelings for Jiang Jie. At the same time, Jiang Jie becomes jealous when he sees Li Nai being friendly with male customers who frequently visit her restaurant. Feeling jealous, Jiang Jie tries to find ways to keep them away. The tension peaks when Jiang Jie asks Li Nai to turn down a man's invitation for a date. When Li Nai asks why she should refuse, Jiang Jie admits that he likes her and doesn't want to lose her again. Before they can share a kiss, Jing unexpectedly arrives, interrupting the moment, and they have to part. However, as Jiang Jie is about to leave, Li Nai whispers to him, saying goodbye and acknowledging that she is now his girlfriend. After returning home, Jiang Jie can't stop smiling and feels a bit awkward. Overwhelmed by his feelings, he visits Li Nai at her home and kisses her affectionately. Then, they spend the night together, sharing warmth and happiness. In the midst of their joy, Jing, who is revealed to be married with a child, suddenly has to attend her ex-husband's funeral. She leaves her young daughter in Li Nai's care, and Jiang Jie helps look after her, making them feel like a little family. One day, Jiang Jie met Zheng Fang and discovered that he was now working at the Jiang clan's restaurant. Zhu Hao had recruited Zheng Fang on Jiang Jie's orders, promising him a high position. Zheng Fang had always dreamed of becoming the head chef, but in the past, neither him nor his father had ever been given the chance because they weren't descendants of the 7 Baichuan chefs. Zheng Fang felt that he deserved to be head chef and believed that the Jiang clan owed him the position. There, Jiang Jie tried to warn him that Jiang Jie was just using him, but Zheng Fang wouldn't listen. Then, the long-awaited day finally arrived when Jiang Jie had the chance to clear his family's name, with the help of Li Nai and Cui Can. At that time, Jiang Jie came up with a plan to reveal the truth during the Alliance gathering, which also happened to be his grandfather's 70th birthday. Cui Can managed to win over Jiang Jie's trust and was chosen to host the gathering. At the Baichuan 7 Chefs Alliance gathering, Chuikin told a story about a father who abandoned his son because he wasn't talented enough to protect the family's image. Although he didn't say any names, everyone knew he was talking about Jiang Jie. The situation became even more tense when Jiang Jie's uncle showed up at the gathering. Shortly after, Gu Kunshan arrived to reveal what really happened in the past, and Jiang Jie exposed his uncle's crimes to everyone. Jiang Jie was shocked when he learned that his son had harmed his own twin brother. He already felt guilty for driving away Jiang Jie's father, but his son's actions were beyond what he could accept. Jiang Jie became very angry, his blood pressure spiked, and he was rushed to the hospital. During the chaotic meeting, Jiang Xiu finally discovers that Chuikin became a spy to help clear her father's name, which is why he distanced himself from her. However, instead of feeling grateful, Jiang Xiu is angry because she hates being left behind, no matter the reason. Meanwhile, Jiang Suyang takes advantage of his grandfather's absence to push forward his franchise proposal. Most of the alliance members agree with the plan since fast food and franchising can reduce costs and increase profits. However, this policy would eventually make chefs less important. Upon knowing that, Li Nai is very upset, but Jiang Jie reassures her, explaining that if they can defeat the Jiang clan and become the best restaurant, they will have the chance to propose a new plan that could solve this problem. Jiang Suyang then tries to cause trouble between Li Nai and Jiang Jie by telling Li Nai that her knife-stealing challenge against Jiang Jie was rigged. He claims that Jiang Jie only got close to her for revenge. But Li Nai doesn't believe him, and, in a bold move, she announces that her restaurant will challenge the Jiang clan for their knife. At that moment, Jiang Jie overhears this conversation and feels proud of his girlfriend for being so honest and loyal. One night, Jiang Jie meets Jiang Xiu in the park, and they start reminiscing about the past when they used to play on the swings with their father. There, Jiang Xiu confesses that one of the reasons she chose to live with their grandfather was because she wanted to live a luxurious life as the granddaughter of a wealthy family. However, now she regrets that decision because her life feels empty and unfulfilling. Shortly after, Jiang Jie shares that when he went abroad, he didn't have enough money to pay for cooking school. He could only work in a restaurant where he was treated poorly by strangers. Even though he eventually became a respected assistant chef, it didn't bring him happiness because he missed his parents and younger sister every day. Suddenly, Jiang Xiu starts crying and apologizes to her older brother, feeling guilty that she lived comfortably while he faced so many challenges. But there, Jiang Jie reassures her, saying that she has the right to choose her own path and shouldn't feel guilty about it. However, he also says that he had no right to force her to follow his journey. That night, Jiang Jie reveals that he will be Li Nai's assistant in the upcoming knife-stealing challenge, which means he and Jiang Xiu will be on opposite sides. Jiang Xiu doesn't like being in this position, but she also doesn't want to give up. She had sacrificed her childhood to become the best, and seeing her determination makes Jiang Jie feel proud and grateful. Meanwhile, Chuikin didn't want to give up on his love for Jiang Xiu, so he met with her again to try and fix their relationship. During their conversation, Jiang Xiu revealed that she didn't like being left alone, especially since she had spent much of her life without a family that truly loved her. Chuikin's presence had meant the world to her, and when he left, her world felt like it was falling apart. To show how serious he was, Chuikin proposed to her, promising never to leave her again, and they finally got back together. Since the previous match result was manipulated, Li Nai challenged Jiang Jie again to ensure a fair victory. However, instead of another cooking competition, Li Nai suggested they go go-kart racing. They had a great time, and Li Nai told Jiang Jie not to give up, warning that she would be very upset if he did. Although Jiang Jie won the race, Li Nai was still happy because, to her, it was a very special and memorable date. On the day of the big match, Jiang Suyang ordered Cui Jing to make sure Jiang Jie lost the contest. Chuikin anticipated this and persuaded Cui Jing to do the right thing. He told her that even if their company went bankrupt, their family wouldn't be ruined as long as they stuck together. Chuikin was on Li Nai's side, but he also supported his future wife in a fair and honest way. Just before the contest began, Li Nai received a call that her father had come to see her, even though she had left him with a nurse. Unfortunately, Li Nai got trapped in an elevator that suddenly broke down, which turned out to be a trap set by Jiang Suyang. Previously, he had sent someone to bring Li Nai's father to the contest venue, hoping that Li Nai would be too distracted to compete. There, Li Nai asked Jiang Jie to continue the match without her while she waited for the rescue team. They came up with a plan that no one had expected, that Jiang Jie would compete representing the Ge clan, since he now held the knife that Ge Kunshan had passed down to him. Besides that, Li Nai made an announcement that she had been defeated by Jiang Jie in an unofficial match and handed over her knife to him. With the number of knives Jiang Jie now possessed, he had earned the right to challenge the Jiang clan. Soon after, the match began, becoming a one-on-one competition between Jiang Jie and Jiang Xiu. At that time, Jiang Su-yang, unable to interfere, could only hope that Cui Jing would carry out his orders. Meanwhile, Zhu Hao began to feel that Jiang Su-yang had gone too far and started to doubt whether he could be a good father to their child. During the match, Jiang Jie remembered the time he cooked for his younger sister, and it inspired him to create a dish themed around a child's lunch. Jiang Jie dedicated this dish to his younger sister, feeling happy to finally keep a promise he had made to her, even though it was very late. As the judges prepared to give their verdict, Zhu Hao suddenly appeared and, with the evidence she had gathered, revealed all of Jiang Su-yang's crimes and Cui Jing's involvement in manipulating the results of the previous match. At the same time, Cui Jing confessed to her actions and gave her final vote to Jiang Jie, making him the winner of the challenge with an honest assessment. After everything that happened, Jiang Su-yang was arrested by the police for his crimes. Cui Jing turned herself in, while Zheng Fang never got the chance to achieve his dream of becoming a head chef. Meanwhile, Jiang Ziqing suffered a stroke and could do nothing but lie weakly in a hospital. Several months later, the Baichuan Seven Chefs Alliance was officially disbanded, the monopoly system collapsed, and all the restaurants that had closed due to the knife-stealing challenges were able to reopen. Everyone got their happy ending. Jing Jing planned to reopen her family's restaurant. Cui can marry Jiang Xiu, and they were excited to start a family together. The scene ends with Jiang Jie deciding to stay with Li Nai and help her manage her restaurant. He no longer wants to be apart from her and promises to stay by her side, loving her until the end of their lives. They are both very happy and begin discussing their future plans together. The film ends. The moral lesson from this film is, if you ever find yourself in a cooking battle, just remember that love, go-kart racing, and a good lunch theme might actually save the day. Oh, and never underestimate the power of a well-timed slap and a fish that refuses to die.